let me get this straight. You got Georgia on the ropes at home, down 13-12. You are down a point. And being down a point, the thing you decide to do on 4th and 8, which becomes 4th and 13 thanks to a false start penalty when you had already made this decision, you decide the best thing for you to do is to punt the football. I don't know when Mark Stoops turned into Kirk Ferentz, but I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Delayed the live show so that we could see the end of this game right here. Also, I could watch Mark Stoops throw away what I thought was a great opportunity to just get your kicker in field goal range. The boy had already shown you he good from 55. Put it on Brock Vandagriff and try to make it happen. Or better yet, run a halfback draw, because it was very clear that Brock Vandagriff was going to be running for his life all night long against a Georgia defense that was feeling some kind of way about him transferring, I'm sure. Or maybe they weren't thinking about him at all. But you give the ball back to Georgia, and you are selling out against the run. And in selling out against the run, you get beat on what you have to know is coming on an outside. The boy is standing next to the boundary because you know where they're going to try to go with the football. There ain't no time left. They're going to try to. I was never so upset as to when I saw homie step out of bounds on that one, because now you're in a position where you have to declare down, right? Declare down means you don't want to score a touchdown because it's 13-12, right? Normally you score 6, you go for 1, that's 7. Get a ball back to Kentucky, they can score 8. Well, let's say you go for 2. They can still come back and they can try, right? You got to get that 2-point conversion. You put yourself in a position where if you go for the 2-point and you fail, you give the ball back to them anyway. So now you have to declare down. And this is the third time that I have seen Georgia go to Kentucky and damn near piss away the season, and Mark Stoops just refuses to take it from Kirby Smart. I get that they boys. I get that they hang out. But I just don't understand. I don't get it. I need somebody to make me understand. You think that much of your defense? You're down by 1 after getting stomped on by South Carolina last week. You're down by 1 to the number 1 team in the country, the presumptive favorite to win the national championship. And you can turn your season around right now. And what do you decide to do? You punt the damn football. This is why I play offense. This is why I play quarterback, because I want the ball. And if you Brock Vandagriff, you got to feel some kind of way about, A, the way that you played tonight, 12 of 25, 97 yards, 3 sacks, but no picks, right? Your ground game was working, right? Had 170 yards on the ground, even if you had to carry the ball 45 times. Still, defense, they was doing what they could. You got the number 1 team in the country on the ropes, the presumptive number 1 overall draft pick in Carson Beck, depending on where you land on this thing, on the ropes, and you give him the ball back? You know, I can't help foolish. I can't fix foolish. I can't fix fool, F-O-O-L, on the forehead. I can't do that. I'm beside myself for Kentucky fans, because y'all deserved an opportunity to go win this out. Try to win it. Lose the game, but try to win it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're down by 1. You don't have a lead. There's nothing to punt toward. You don't need to play defense. This is a perfect situation for every one of us that grows up throwing footballs in the backyard. This is what you want. You draw it up as a kid playing preschool. I got Georgia on the ropes. Give me the ball. I did a live show earlier this week because I got a call from the little homie. One of the things that I love is that I'm getting old. And because I'm getting old, all the big homies are having little homies. And all the big homies are introducing their little homies to the show. And if you're watching it live, thank you so much. Subscribe to the show. We just went over 107,000 subscribers. We'd love for you to join the family. 64% of the people that watch this show do not subscribe. So please do me a favor, hit that button. Because the more people that subscribe, the bigger the show gets. The bigger the show gets, the bigger the family can get, the bigger the community can get. And it's a fun community. We have a lot of fun. But one of the reasons that I've been able to do this for so long is because the big homies have little homies. And the little homies, they use their YouTube to watch me, which I will never, ever get over. It's like me and Paw Patrol. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, the little homie called me up, and he said, RJ, maybe I need to be playing quarterback for Oklahoma because Jackson Arnold doesn't look that good. And I'm like, maybe you're right. And maybe my daddy need to call plays. Well, he does know what you like to run. And then he said, RJ, what do we do when we're down? Because that's the sign off. And I said, run 4 verticals. And that's what I'm looking at with Kentucky. I'm going, run 4 verticals. Give your boys a shot. Matter of fact, this is what happened with the famous Texas game. In 2008, I'm watching Tech. They got a chance to knock off a top-ranked Texas program. Get the biggest win they've ever had in their lives. And what did I get to see? But Graham Harrell and Michael Crabtree running up on Mike Leach and going, dog, let us go do this. We got them. And to which Mike Leach just shrugged his shoulders, said, run 4 verticals. Walks off. Love that. And what they do, you know exactly what he did. Michael Crabtree went toe tapping down the sideline into the end zone. It's the stuff that we dream about. And I feel like Mark Stoops robbed his boys of that. You know, I'm watching the game. They got the... Go win it. That's all I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to go win it. I'm asking you to let these men that have chosen to play for you get a shot to go win this football game. That's what I'm asking. And I don't think that that's much to ask. I think that's what we all sign up for, man. I think that's what we sign up for as fans. I think that's what you sign up for as players. I think that's exactly what the Big Blue Nation expected, right? If we're going to lose it on our terms, especially at home. And you got a loss. You got nothing to protect. You're not a ranked program. You're a midfield team in a really, really stacked SEC. And you happen to catch Georgia on a night when all of us would like to catch Georgia. On a night when all of us are going, why doesn't that Georgia team show up to play us? And if it feels like I am absolutely on one about this, it's because I watched Oklahoma do damn near the same thing, okay? 2017, Oklahoma plays Georgia in the Rose Bowl. What do I find out about Georgia in the Rose Bowl is that Oklahoma's up 17-0, and then we squib kick right before halftime, and the game gets out of hand. We lose it in double overtime, right? I don't want anybody to play football thinking they got to protect the lead. I never want anybody to play football believing that you simply have to protect the lead. Yeah, I get it. It's part of the calculus. We will do it. It will become part of what you're doing, especially if it feels like the game is getting out of hand for you. But there is a time and a place for this. As a matter of fact, Mark Stoops knows there's a time and a place for this. You know how he knows there's a time and a place for this? He knows there's a time and a place for this because he threw out the analytics on what he's going to do on short yardage situations on 4th down. He told the broadcast team as much. Now I'm going with my gut. I'm going with what I feel. And what you felt was down 1 point that you were somehow going to get the ball back with enough time to go down and score. And Georgia knows damn well that's not how this goes. They know damn well that you give us this ball back, we're not going to give you this ball back until there's just a half second left to make you feel like you got a shot. So you get to go in and say, hey, we got the ball back. You got the ball back down 13-12 when you could have gone up 15-13, and then you can trot out your beloved defense. Instead of Kentucky pulls off a miraculous win. We get Georgia survives. That's the headline for tonight. Georgia survives. I don't want to see nobody surviving. I don't. I want to see somebody take it. Take it. It was yours. Take it. Instead, I've got to talk about number one Georgia being number one Georgia, and it's going to be a blip on the resume, and we're going to forget about it by the time we got to play ball again. My goodness, man. My goodness. In what was supposed to be a ho-hum week of college football, because we got 7 AP top 25 teams that are on buys this week that are idols. Leave it to Georgia to make something out of nothing. A Kentucky team they should have beat by 60. They win 13-12, and we got to talk about them that way. So that's part of the show today. Tonight, we got to talk about Texas, got to talk about Arch Manning, talk a little bit about Oklahoma and what's laying in wait for them apparently with Tennessee. We got to go through my top 25. You're going to get a little bit earlier because, well, we can do it earlier, and you'll be able to see that at foxsports.com with some reasoning as to why some teams were moved around, including, what I did behind Texas, or I should say behind Georgia, with Texas, based on what we've seen today and what we've seen over the last couple of weeks. And because the SEC is the SEC, we also get one more money in the bag. For those of y'all that are new to the show, I'm RJ Young. I host the number one college football show. All the folks in the chat are family, the kinfolk. Some of them been around since day one. Day one was 7 years ago, September 10th. And we have been rolling ever since. Get to do the show at Fox Sports. Get to write about college football at Fox Sports. And this is who I am, man. I am up from the crack of dawn watching ball. And I've been watching ball since Thursday night. And when we get to watching ball on Tuesday Night Action, I'll be watching ball there too. That's what I do. And that's why I take the top 25 so seriously. And one of the reasons that I love to do this show when we love to do this show, this is more of an instant reaction show, but we kind of load it up. And I want to start with a non-top 25 game that really had a lot of us going. And that was Colorado State getting to host Colorado after a lot of gibber and jabber, mostly from the Rams. I found this one to be quite fascinating and interesting because we got Braden Nicolosi Fowler and Torrey Horton popping off at the mouth. Now, I have been extremely critical of Colorado this year, and I will continue to be extremely critical of Colorado when it's time to be critical of Colorado. And I mean that in the negative way, in the positive way, because criticism in and of itself is neutral. It's neither negative nor positive. It's about what you attach to it. So when you talk about being critical, I don't need you to just go negative. You can be critical and be positive. But in this instance, I'm going to be negative about Colorado State for the most part, and I'm going to be positive about Colorado for the most part. But it starts with, you can't be talking all this noise and then get beat down 28-9. You can't do that. We're not going to allow that. I'm going to call you. I am going to pull your card, sir. I'm going to go, no. Give me your card. You are no longer allowed in the trash talking club. You don't get to say nothing else. You've been doubled up by Colorado. Sit down, be quiet somewhere. But instead, the headline going into this week was Torrey Horton, who can't play, saying, and I quote, "We should have murdered those guys." Talk about last year. Talk about they let them off the hook as Shedeur Sanders went on his Tom Brady and led Colorado down the field in what was a dramatic game in which Travis Hunter was knocked out of the game. Okay? In this game, Travis decided he was going to be felt. He decided that he had had enough of your gibber and your jabber. He was staring down the Colorado State fans in the pregame, giving them his best mug, and my goodness, did he go off. That man had 12 catches for 90 yards, 2 TDs, and an interception. There was nowhere that any Colorado State player could go without one Travis Hunter letting them know. And when he wasn't letting them know, you know who was? Shedeur. Shedeur back to being Shedeur. You know, we talk about this dude, and I think we talk about him from two different standpoints. It's one, he is his daddy's son. He got that confidence, and he got that swagger. But he also got game. And it's not just that he went 36-49 for 310, 4 TDs, and no picks. A Shedeur Sanders line, we're coming to find out, is throwing the ball damn near 40 times, throwing for over 300 yards, putting up 4 TDs, okay? When he's good, that's what it looks like. Also, when they're good, they ain't going to be able to run the ball well. They just ran the ball effectively well tonight, meaning I got to see Michael Welch go 9 carries, 65 yards. By Colorado standards, that's basically 150 on the ground. That's just what the offense is. I know Pat Shermer was supposed to take this over and be like, hey, we're going to run the ball a little bit more. But he finding out what Sean Lewis knew, which is maybe I just need to ask 2 to throw the ball to 12 and 5. Maybe that's what I need to do. Excuse me. Travis had 13 for 100 and 2 TDs. I stand corrected. My goodness. These stat lines are stupid, man. Like, they went for over 400 yards of offense, and 310 of them were Shedeur throwing the ball, and 100 of them, a quarter of the offense was Travis Hunter. Because that's what it is. That dude got gang. LaJohntay Wester had 5 for 80. Will Shepherd, I'm amazed that man had 7 catches. I kept seeing him just drop the ball. Like, everybody want to tell me about this dude from Vanderbilt, the other dude from Vanderbilt, because the good one when he went to Georgia. That's what London Humphrey went. London Humphrey went to Georgia. That's how that works. You know, you could tell me that Will Shepherd is the better one, but I'm going to tell you that the better one usually goes to Georgia. And Georgia, I just got saying they're undefeated. Meanwhile, Colorado moves to 2-1. Now, their non-con is gone, but apparently they're going to beat the teams that they're supposed to beat this year. Okay? Colorado State was definitely a team that they were supposed to beat. That said, Prime is 6-10 now. Or excuse me, 6-9 now. My bad. He's 6-9 now as a head coach at Colorado. I need to get to a winning percentage here. But what they got Baylor coming up, that's a winnable game for you. That's a gettable game. You could probably win that game. Central Florida in a fist fight with Texas Christian. They were 2-0 to start. Okay. Kansas State, that's a good football team. I don't know about that one. Arizona, they built like Colorado. That's going to be a lot of fun because Arizona is what Colorado would be if we all felt really good about Colorado. Okay. Noah Fafita, Teteroa McMillan, that's the best quarterback wide receiver tandem in football outside of the one that we just got to talking about with Shedeur and Travis. That's going to be a lot of fun. Arizona ain't going to be ranked when they play them, but you get my point here. And because Arizona's got a liability playing defense, and by that I mean all 11, it's just a whole liability on that side of the ball. You might see both of those quarterbacks go for 400 yards and both offenses go for 40. It's going to be fun. I don't know who's going to win that. It's a toss-up. Cincinnati, that's a gettable game. Texas Tech, I don't see that one. Utah, I don't see that one. Kansas got to figure out whether or not they want to be disciplined or not, which is a wild thing to say about a Lance Leipold football team because they are 1-2 when they should be 3-0 if all they could do is take care of the football. Like if Jalen Daniels just takes care of the football, they beat UNLV and they beat Illinois, but they didn't, so now they're 1-2. And then you got Oklahoma State, who I don't think you're going to win. I don't think you're going to win that game. So I'm looking at 5-7, 6-6 being the ceiling for what Colorado might be able to do. But, look, maybe they go to get some wins. Maybe they find some depth where they didn't have any depth last year. Maybe Travis Hunter is able to hold up for the entirety of the season. It's another thing that I'm just keeping an eye on. Do you know that they give Travis 3 days off? They give him Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then they ask him to start doing stuff on Wednesday. And usually, you traveling by Friday. I get it. I understand. I wouldn't ask that boy to practice neither. But still, playing both ways and playing over 100 snaps, that's asking a lot, man. That's asking a lot. I'm going to be curious. I'm going to be curious to find out what this is. I'm also not very enthusiastic about not seeing Dallin Hayden do anything in Colorado. I don't even think he traveled, man. And that, is in state. It ain't like you going out of the state. They got to get a run game is what I'm saying. If it's Micah Welch, fine. Let it be Micah Welch. But 19 for 109, 5.7 yards per carry, that's fine. That's fine. And that's counting the quarterback stats, right? He was sacked just one time in this game, which, again, anytime you can keep 2 upright, you have an opportunity to win a football game if you were Colorado. Perhaps that's it. Perhaps this offensive line is beginning to gel. I don't know. We're going to find out, though, because once they get into Big 12 play, I think everybody in the Big 12 is capable of beating everybody else. It is, top to bottom, the second deepest league in all of football behind the SEC. I realize that I'm saying that as Houston went into this weekend winless, but you understand what I mean. Everybody up and down there is going to give you a hard time. There is no easy win in the Big 12, just as there is no easy win in the SEC. Hell, Vanderbilt's in the deep water with Georgia State last I checked. Matter of fact, while we here, let's see what that happened. Georgia State able to pull out a 36-32 win against Vanderbilt. That's not an easy win, is what I'm saying. And Georgia State was underdog in that one, plus 8.5. Wow. Check that out. We live in a world where Vanderbilt is expected to beat teams. Like favored by Vegas. That's wild. That's wild to me. So that's one of the big non-top 25 programs that I wanted to watch. Another one we'll talk about a little bit later on. We'll go out on this one. But the SEC, again, bottom of the SEC ain't Vanderbilt. It's another team. And they're near Vanderbilt, but it ain't Vanderbilt. Okay? Back to the SEC. This is a week where Georgia showed signs of fracture against Kentucky, right? A team that South Carolina beat like a drum just last week, okay? That's one measure of perspective, okay? Another measure of perspective might be Kentucky demonstrated that the SEC is extremely deep by answering the call against the number one team in the sport and the presumptive favorite to win the conference championship and the national championship. That's the second view. And I think the second view is the one that you should take because it's the one that I take. And the reason I take that one is South Carolina had a top 25 LSU on the ropes. They were beating LSU at Williams-Brice. And I maintain they would have beaten LSU at Williams-Brice if Lenore Sellers played the second half of the game. Because right before half, Lenore Sellers basically gave you one play as to what he had been doing all day against that LSU defense led by Harold Perkins. He went 75 yards to his house and then came out with an ankle injury, and they had to go Robbie Ashford. And there's a reason why Robbie Ashford has gone from Oregon to Auburn to South Carolina, and it's because he can't close out games like the one that he needed to close out against LSU to get them a big win. Could not do that. The other reason that I would take the second view of this is Alabama and what they did to Wisconsin at Camp Randall. Start with this. Alabama is the first team to go to Camp Randall and score 42 points since 2008. You know what teams have been through Wisconsin since then. Most of them you know of on the Big Ten slate. Okay? That's what Alabama did today. Earlier today, this morning, on Big Fox. Another reason that I might say the second view is the one that you should take is Arch Manning, who became the first player since Anthony Richardson and just the third player since Johnny Manziel to rush for a 65-yard score and to throw a pass that went at least 65 yards for a score. And he did that coming off the damn bench. Y'all think that the way we talk about Shedeur in the NFL is getting on your nerves. Ooh, Lord, you have no idea what we are about to be on with 16. I've said it before. There are three phrases that I absolutely hate. This guy, because you are demonstrating you don't know this show and you are not family by saying this guy. You don't go into the comments and say this guy. I'm RJ. Address RJ. Someone will probably answer. But this guy, nah, I don't do this guy. I don't do the narrative either. The narrative is not a thing we make up. It is a sequence of events that lead to a conclusion. We deal in facts. We don't deal in biases. There is no agenda here. And the third thing I absolutely, positively hate is the media. I am not the media. I am RJ. If you want to talk about someone else inside the media, use their name. Use the broadcast. Use the network. Use the publication. Do not hide behind anonymity. Don't be a coward. We don't do cowards here. We don't do cowards here. I say that to say, this thing y'all call the media, this thing y'all call the narrative, y'all gonna get too loud about it. You are absolutely positively gonna hate the way people talk about Arch Manning. And I'm here to tell you, I can't wait to talk in earnest about Arch Manning, because Arch Manning turns out to be everything we told you that he was probably going to be based on the facts before us. That man is living up to his pedigree. For those of y'all that want to get into bloodlines and want to get into family traits, this is y'all one. This is y'all one. I don't like that. I don't think that that's the way you should go. I think that there are some advantages to growing up associated with the job. that aren't beneficial to others. For instance, my mother is a marriage and family therapist, right, by trade, right? She comes out of the Air Force as an officer, and she becomes a marriage and family therapist. And I, as a child, am following my mother around from Pine Grove Rehabilitation in Hattiesburg to Next Step. I get to know addicts on a level that I don't think many children get that opportunity. And I get to know what addiction looks like, and I get to know how to address it, how to avoid it, all these things, because I am next to my mother. I'm in her back pocket everywhere I go. I used to play ping pong for cigarettes, and I ain't smoke. Matter of fact, they would come to me and be like, yo, RJ, you gonna give me back that carton? No, I won this. And I would get great pleasure out of dumping those cigarettes in the trash on the way out, because I want them. I can do what I want. You know what I'm saying? But that's me being close to my mama. If you grow up in media, right, in working in media, and you are, say, Jeremy Schaap, and your father's Dick Schaap, damn right you're going to be a great journalist. You've been in his back pocket the whole time. You know, if I had little people running around, they would learn how to do all of this. That's what Arch Manning has. Arch Manning has that. So I don't want to hear nothing about no bloodlines. I want to hear about how he grows up the son of Cupper, who had all the wiggle, like his daddy. And Peyton and Eli, they ain't got wiggle like that. But they won Super Bowls as quarterbacks. Peyton Manning is one of the greatest quarterbacks who's ever lived. Eli Manning on the short list of the most underappreciated quarterbacks who has ever lived. Of course, Arch Manning is good at this. His granddaddy is Archie Manning. That makes sense to me. His uncles run the Manning Passing Academy. Yes, he's going to be good. And if he wasn't, we want to know why. You know what I'm saying? We want to be like, so you didn't follow your uncles, your dad, your grandfather around? They didn't take you places? Because that's what you would do, right? Those of y'all are coming to find out more about me. You see the X-Men thing back here. There's a screensaver right here is Black Panther. That's how I get down. I love me some Black Panther. It's more about I associate with an Ndjaka, and I associate with M'Baku more than I do with, say, T'Challa. However, I think this is right here. When T'Chaka was saying, as a father, a son who was not prepared for his father's death, I have failed him. That's how I would think about this. So if you are Arch Manning, of course you got all these men in your family that play this position or know this position, you're going to be good. So as soon as he got to go in there for Quinn Ewers, who had an abdominal strain, he was cooking UTSA. Now, UTSA is UTSA, but he was cooking UTSA. All right, let me put it another way. Quinn Ewers entered this week in the Heisman conversation. Like, it's him, it's Jalen Milroe, who I'll talk about here in a little bit, it's Cam Ward, and then we start talking about who might be there, right? Like, say, a Kyle McCord. He might be there. A Nico Iamaleava. He might be there. You know, we can keep going down the line on this. Carson Beck, he's there. But Quinn Ewers had gone 14-16 for 185 with 2 TDs and a pick against UTSA. The game was very much out of hand already. The Roadrunners are not what they've been in the years past. But, you know, he went down with the abdominal strain. He was in street clothes by the second quarter. So they put this dude in named Arch Manning, and Arch went back to cooking people. Look, Arch went 9 of 12 for 223 with 4 TDs and was the second leading rusher on the team with 3 carries. He had 3 carries. The man had 5 total TDs. Y'all are going to get so tired of the way that we were talking about Arch Manning, and I got to deal with that child for the next 2 years, probably 4, given how his get down is, because while there are some people that are going to tell you there's a quarterback controversy at Texas, I'm here to tell you as the OU person, hell no, there ain't. There isn't. If Quinn Ewers can play, Quinn Ewers will play. You know why? Because you're always going to have Arch back there. And until Quinn starts to mess up, and Quinn hasn't been messing up, you're not going to see Arch. You're going to see Arch in this measure. And you know what? This was what I had wondered about Texas. If I had any reservations about Texas as one of the 2 best teams in college football, this was it. Because I know that Quinn Ewers has not played an entire season of football at the University of Texas, period. He has missed at least 1 game due to injury every year. This game, he goes out due to injury. What happens? Well, the guy that's behind him now absolutely can cook. He can go. And he is in no hurry. He is absolutely, positively wise enough to take advantage of the situation. The situation is quite clear to me. He's got all the money he will ever need, so that's not a motivator. It's not a thing. Anything he wants to get, he can get. What he wants to do is be his grandson or his granddaddy's grandson. He wants to bring honor to the name. And the way you bring honor to the Manning name is you're not chasing anything that ain't yours. You want everybody to know that you got your head down, you're working hard. It is really difficult not to like Arch Manning. I did a segment earlier this week comparing him and Shador, and I stand by this. There are different ways to be famous, man. It's real difficult to do it Arch's way, though, because, A, people already got to like you. And once people like you, you got to maintain that like. And the easy way for him to do that is just be himself. He is the dude that will lose his student ID twice, and people love him for it. And then he goes out, and he's absolutely spinning like Vince Young out there in that offense. And Steve Sarkisian is like, yeah, he's playing a little bit of good football. Saying all the right things. Nothing about this dude is getting gassed up. It's all right there for your ocular evidence. You see it. There's nothing to hide behind anymore. Love that for Texas. Hate that for Oklahoma. But you know what? It is what it is at this point. Texas looks like a juggernaut, man. OU Texas is always tough. And I believe most Texas fans will tell you it's 50-50 most years. You don't feel good about it until you get to the first quarter, and then you might exhale. You go, oh, my God, we're in trouble one way or the other, right? Either way, Texas already looking past Oklahoma to Georgia on October 19th. Remember, they got that game back-to-back. They got Oklahoma 12th, and they got Georgia on the 19th. And after that game, we're probably going to have not just the presumptive favorite to win the SEC championship, but once again, we're going to reset the table on who could play for the national championship. But the great thing about the college football playoff is going to have 12 teams in there, and two of them are probably going to be Georgia and Texas in some way. And the loser of that game, maybe they lose the SEC championship, and then they're the 5th seed, right? Which means that you get to host a game either at Sanford or at DKR. That's going to be so much fun. It's going to be so much fun. So I want to kind of work through the top 25, touch on a couple other games that I thought were interesting as we get through this. Nice to see Central Florida pulling out a win against Texas Christian, by the way. That game got to be really great at the end. They went 35-34. Baylor absolutely stopped the mud hole in Air Force, 31-3. I mean, you see this. And I'll get to that other thing. Also, Indiana sneaky off to a 3-0 start. They beat UCLA like they stole something, 42-13. Maybe Kirk Cinetti knows something about himself, because everywhere he goes, he does win. However, UCLA ain't that good, and we've all known that. Mostly from the moment that Deshaun Foster got up there at Big Ten Media Days to try to act like we don't know where Los Angeles is or where UCLA is. I still don't know what to do with that. I don't know what to do with that. I think I would have shown up to Indianapolis going, NBA town. They know the Lakers, among other things. There's lots of different ways to go about this. But even now, it kind of feels like an odd fit, okay? So I got Georgia at 1. I got Texas at 2. I moved them mostly because of what they did against Michigan and what I saw from Arch tonight. They answered a question that I had for them. Do you have it in reserve for this dude that I know is going to get hurt? Yeah, they do. I got Ohio State. They're idle at 3, but, it's Ohio State. They take care of their business. They'll be fine. They got Marshall next week. That ain't nobody. We don't care. And then it gets kind of nasty. Because the team I got at number 4, that's the University of Tennessee. Let me tell y'all something. Oklahoma's about to go through it. Tennessee was up on Kent State. Again, who ain't nobody. 37-0 at the end of the first quarter. It was 65-0 at halftime. There was a reported story that Tennessee had offered Kent State the opportunity to shorten the third and the fourth quarter so that everybody could get up out of here without being too embarrassed. And in their hubris, Kent State said, nah, that's all right. We good. No, you're not, dog. By definition, you are not. You were down 65-0. Get everybody the hell up out of here, man. Don't do that. So the final score is 71-0. Stupid. Ridiculous. So that team is coming to play Oklahoma. And then Oklahoma gets Auburn. And then Oklahoma gets Texas. And essentially, Oklahoma is going to go through it. But you know what? I was thinking about this, man. I was getting goosebumps. I really was. I was getting goosebumps. I maybe I'm a little bit masochistic, but I like this spot. Like I realize I'm not telling anybody who's gonna win what. I'm saying I like this spot. I'm saying, ooh, yeah. Ooh, I like this. Ooh, they don't think I'm any good. Okay. Somebody gonna catch a hand. Somebody gonna catch a right hook. Maybe it won't be Tennessee. Maybe it won't be Auburn. Maybe it won't be Texas. I don't know. Somebody gonna catch a right hook. Somebody gonna get to understand it's tornado country through here, and we're still here. Okay? It's a flyover state over here where nobody wants to be, and yet we are here. I just kind of like it. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting antsy, baby. I really am. I'm more excited about SEC play than I was Tulane or Houston. Like, damn straight. Like, straight up. I was mad about Houston. I'm upset about Tulane. Tennessee, bring it. Let's go. Heupel gets to come home, too. It is the first SEC game for Oklahoma. And then we get to be whomever it is we're going to be. You know, and we get to stand on that, man. I love that stuff. I really do. You know, folks that know me, we don't cuss on the show because the kiddos watch the show. It's a hard and fast rule. Nobody gets to use hard profanity on the show, right? That said, I can't wait. I really can't wait. I realize that there's people out here that are like, yo, man, you just getting ready to get beat on. I'm like, maybe. But when there's blood in my teeth, I'm usually grinning, man. And people don't usually want to keep fighting. That's just not what people want to do. I come to find out there are more people that are afraid of a fist fight than there are that are people that actually want to do something. I'm from the place where we want to do something. I mean, I'm captain of a wrestling team in high school, dog. I'm 5'5", 100 and nothing, but you are welcome to try me. Like that's how I get down. And every time I look at Brent Venables, that's what I see. I see a man who is hard, who wants it as bad as I want it, who does not believe in talent alone, whose values and principles are stronger than most. That's a promise, baby. I love that. That said, Tennessee, y'all nasty. Y'all nasty. Offensively, y'all are nasty. Everybody knows that. We understand that. But defensively, my God. So, against Tulane, one of the things that was upsetting me about Oklahoma is the left side of the offensive line just kept getting beat down. And there are people that believe that it's Jackson Arnold's fault, it's Slash Luttrell's fault, that it's the offensive line's fault, that we're not really shouldn't be that upset because Oklahoma's 3-0. And I'm going two things on that. One, it is absolutely everybody's fault. Okay? Number two, it ain't about being undefeated. It's how you are undefeated. I keep trying to tell everybody that in the sport. We've been playing this sport for over 150 years. We don't give a damn about being undefeated. We give a damn about how you look being undefeated. If you look soft undefeated, we won't even let you into the playoff. Ask Florida State 2023. I don't care about being 3-0. That's the standard. That's the standard. The standard is being 3-0 with the schedule you put in front of us. That's the standard. I want excellence. There's only one Oklahoma. That's on the marquee. That's slogan. That is trademark. If you don't stand behind that, what are you going to stand behind? I keep telling everybody it's the pro team in Oklahoma and they want to make fun of it, but I'm telling you, man, that's who we are. That program. You know, like people make jokes about this state all the time. And I find myself having to defend where I live all the time to people that live on a coast for stupid reasons. But chief among them is they know the Dust Bowl. They know the Murrah building bombing. They know more tornadoes. They know Twisters, a movie that I don't need to see. The second one, I don't need to see it. I lived that. I covered that. 2013. It's awful. It's horrible. I don't want to go to no disaster porn about Twisters coming through my state. Anybody that's ever been around a tornado never wants to see that thing ever again, even on a movie. Nobody cares. No, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. That's what people know, though. So when George Lynn Cross, Dr. George Lynn Cross, a botanist, was president at the University of Oklahoma, he saw how folks had really rallied around their college football teams on the East Coast. And he thought, The state is down. We got the grapes of wrath. We got John Steinbeck writing about people leaving us. We got crops we can't grow. We barely are getting oil out of the ground. He said maybe a winning football team could bring a measure of pride to an already resilient people that are constantly tearing themselves apart. Whether it be the Tulsa Race Massacre, whether it be how we are talking about Creeks, Seminoles, Choctaw, Cherokee, how we treat each other in this state. But you know what the hell happened? We started winning. And that is what Oklahoma has built its entire reputation on. It's winning. Hell, we unveiled a statue of Patty Gasso because she wins. The softball program in Oklahoma has more national championships than the football program. That's how you get a statue outside of Love Field. We are winners. That's all we got. That's it. There's nothing else here. There's no beaches. There's no 70-degree weather. You know, the weather is whatever it's going to be from day to day, man. But if you ain't come here to win, I don't know what you come here to do. And that's why Oklahoma came running to the SEC. It is the best conference in all the sport. And Oklahoma knows that's where it's supposed to be. Celebrate it. I didn't like it. I wasn't in on it. Still not totally sold. Because I think that some of them think that we Central Florida. You know, that we Texas Christian. Nah, man. 47 in a row. Read about it, homie. Barry Switzer, Bud Wilkinson, Bob Stoops. 7 Heisman winners. I don't know who. That's how I get in my feelings about these things, right? I'll take L's. L's are going to come. That's part of being a college football fan. It's going to happen. You're going to lose a team you shouldn't. You're going to have years where you're not as good as you expected to be. But what you're not going to do is disrespect us. That's not what you're not going to do that. We show up with the appropriate amount of respect for everybody we play. You know, and when we don't, we get called out on it because that's what it means to be Oklahoma. Tennessee, that's what you're getting. Josh Heupel knows that better than anybody else. You know why? Because he's the last damn quarterback we had to win a national championship at Oklahoma. Coming up on a quarter century since then. I was 13 the last time Oklahoma won a national championship. I'm grown now. I'm damn near 40. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would like to see another one before I get up out of here. Been spending half my life covering this sport professionally. I would like to see my team win a national championship. That'd be cool. Number 5 on the list, I got SC. Idle this week. They got a Michigan team that ain't got no quarterback. We'll talk about them a little bit later on. Number 6, I got Ole Miss. Ole Miss been stopping a mud hole and everybody they play walking it dry. They beat Wake Forest 40-6 tonight on the CW. Ooh, man, ACC. They don't actually get challenged until later. They get to dodge Alabama. They are in a really interesting spot, kind of like Texas A&M, where they can kind of find themselves right there at the end. One of those teams that probably gets in the college football playoff with an at-large bid, even if they get a loss, because they might be 11-1, right? Alabama, my gosh, okay. I saw something from Alabama today that I did not really put my finger on in the South Florida game because it was too tight for too long. But they dropped 42 on Wisconsin, and it looked easy. And I told Wisconsin, watching the film, seeing what Alabama had done in week 1 against Western Kentucky, seeing what they'd done in the last 10 minutes against South Florida, they scored 28 in the last 10 minutes. Wisconsin had scored more than 28 in a single game this year. I said, sit on the ball, take the air out of it. Do not give that ball back to Alabama's offense because as junk as they can play from time to time, they will take the lid off anytime they want to. Running or throwing. And what did Jalen Milroe do? That. They got a true freshman in Ryan Williams that in any other year we would be talking about as a phenomenon. But because Jeremiah Smith is at Ohio State, we got to talk about him as another phenomenon, along with Ryan Wingo at Texas. But that dude also went ham. They put up 42 on Wisconsin. Wisconsin's not very good this year, but you get the point. Jalen Milroe joined a fraternity of fellas that they win Heisman trophies. You know, short of Jordan Lynch, everybody else on the list that had, in the last 20 years, had 3 consecutive games of 2 rushing TDs and 2 passing TDs, Heisman winners, first-round draft picks. Jalen Milroe is a Georgia win away from winning the Heisman Trophy. That's how it feels. They're going to go on this off week. They're going to come out, And maybe they catch the Georgia team that Kentucky caught, and they know what to do with it. But I don't think that's going to happen because they know who Alabama is, and they were probably sleeping on Kentucky. That's just what it is, right? Plus, Georgia was down on the defensive side, and I get all this whatnot. But what I saw from Jalen Milroe and what I've seen from Alabama just reminds me of Black Dynamite. I'm over here, I'm quoting Bullhorn. You know what I'm saying? I'm watching Jalen Milroe explode. And I was telling Wisconsin, do not play with dynamite because it tends to explode. And now they got Jalen Milroe who decided that he wants to wear long hair. I did that, except I grew mine out over several years. He grew his out over a couple months. He decided he wanted to go do that. Doesn't seem to affect his play. Out there making it happen. Jam Miller holding it down. You know, they got dudes at wide receiver. If it ain't Jeremy, it's Ryan. They can maul you offensively running the football. They can get pushed on you defensively. Deontay Lawson might be the best guy that they had since maybe Rolando Crane, maybe Reuben Foster. You know? It feels like Alabama all over again, except it's just Kalen DeBoer, which is a man who has won 107 games and lost just 12 as a head coach. Wherever he goes, winning follows, and I believe in winning. If you are a winner, you usually win everywhere you go. You make a habit of doing it. And what I find awesome about Kalen DeBoer is he's able to do it in a way that is magnanimous. Like, it's the Arch Manning of head coaches. He's smiling. He's saying all the right things. He's humble. He's open. He will talk to people. It's wild to have that at Alabama because Saban was locking everybody out. You didn't talk to any assistants ever. The process. If you wanted to project a win, he would tear you a new one. Not Kalen DeBoer. And, it's also the offense. We're thinking, man, Jalen going to have to be Michael Penix Jr. out there. No, he's not. They call it an offense that works for Jalen Milroe, which is what I asked Tommy to do. That man is lethal on the ground, and he's lethal down the field. Stop asking him to throw the ball over the middle. Guess what happens? He is dropping bombs downfield, and he is tearing off downfield to score. They had explosive after explosive after explosive TD in that game. Like, I'm looking at this. 10 of Alabama's first 20 TDs this season are explosive plays of 20 yards or more. On the first TD for drive for Bama, watch Jalen explode for 27 yards to Williams and then score 31 to Williams. I mean, I'm looking at this, and you're looking at they're coming from way out. And when they can come from way out, they're capable of beating anybody, including Georgia. Because it is one thing to grind teams down and make 8, 10, 12-play drives. If you can make that into your offense, that's great. That's why Michigan won the national championship last year. But I tell you what, man, there is nothing like watching someone grind you down 8 to 10 plays, 12 plays, take 7 minutes off the clock, go score. Maybe they get 3, maybe they get 6, and then you could hit them back in 2 plays. You have snatched their soul. That defense is like, damn, for real? Or that offense is like, I got to go back out there? Didn't y'all see that I was just wearing myself out to get this 6 points? And y'all just going to let them go over the top of us in 2 plays? I'm telling you, man, that stuff is soul crushing, and it stacks. It stacks, it stacks, it stacks. Alabama scored 42 or more in every game it has played this year. It's them, it's Ole Miss, it's Tennessee, it's the SEC, man. And that's why Oklahoma fans are feeling some kind of way about their program right now, okay? It's because we're not keeping pace. That's it. That gets to it. That we're not keeping pace, and we need to be. We need to be. So I got Bama at 7. I got Penn State, their idol, at 8. I got Oregon at 9. For the first time, Oregon started to look like the program we thought they were going to do and be in the preseason. They beat Oregon State 49-14. And I got Oregon fans out here going, where's the Oregon talk? Y'all need applause for that? You ain't been nobody all year. You finally show up against your in-state rival for which you're supposed to show up, and you need us to Jeb Bush please clap for you? Man, maybe y'all not ready for this. You know, I'm just prepared to get out here and talk about Dylan Gabriel going 20-24 with his passes, 291 through the air, 355 in offense, and 3 total TDs in a win in the Civil War. But no, I got to have Oregon fans being too big for their britches because they finally started acting like a top 10 team. Y'all got bullied by the state of Idaho. The whole state of Idaho bullied you. And you want to come out here talking noise. Don't do that, man. You got a top 10 team. You keep winning football games, you will have a top 5 team. You get Ohio State at Austin. Beat Ohio State at Austin, and you won't need to ask, where's the Oregon talk? It will be the top of mind. Be quiet for a little while. That's all I'm saying, man. You lost the right to be asking for Oregon talk when you in a fist fight with the Idaho Vandals at home. When you getting run on by Ashton Genty for 192. Be Oregon. Don't be Oregon-like. Be Oregon. Be the team that we would look up and be like, damn, they put up 50 again? That's the first time I've seen that from y'all all year. All damn year. And you know what? Leave it to y'all to score 49 against the first Power 4 opponent you face. Can't get it. You know what? If we gave you a bunch of Portland States, Idaho's, Montana States, Montana, South Dakota State, North Dakota State, McNeese State, y'all might be in a dogfight every single week. Put the cupcakes on the menu, and y'all start treating them like jerky. I don't know what to do with Duck fans. You do it to yourselves, dog. Like, you ain't here talking about where's the Oregon talk. Over there at Idaho. That's where it is. It's way over there. Over there at Idaho. Go get it back. Come over here talking noise. Miami still seems to be the best team in the ACC. They beat Ball State like they stole something 62-0. Cam Ward has thrown for at least 304 yards in every game he's played as a Miami Hurricane. He went for 346, 5 TDs, and a win. It's him. It's Jalen. Heisman contenders, dog. They right there. Do you know that the Hurricanes put up 750 yards of offense against the poor Ball State Cardinals today? That they put up 507 yards passing? Nasty work. Just nasty work. And they ain't got to play much of nobody the rest of the way. But you know what? They can't wait to get them. They couldn't wait to get to Florida. They couldn't wait. And they got a bunch of those left on the schedule, man. I'm excited. I think that Cam Ward is a lot of fun to see. I just hope that Mario Cristobal does the right thing when it comes to clock management. That's it. Get the clock management under control. Everything's going to be fine over there at Coral Gables. Number 11, I got Missouri. Finally played a team outside of Class 5A. Went down 14-3 to them at home. RJ, we scored 24 straight. But you were 14-3 at home. And you beat Boston College 27-21. What I find funny about this is people are going, Boston College, good football team. Because they beat Florida State. Have you seen who Florida State has beaten this year? Nobody. Zero. Nobody. Nothing. Nada. No. RJ, Boston College, top 25 team. Yeah. Because we did not expect them to go down there and beat the hell out of Florida State. That's why. Okay? I don't know that you could be looking at Boston College saying that's a good football team. We don't know, honestly. That's the answer. We don't know. We think we know about Missouri, who has won 3 consecutive games as an AP top 25 team for the first time since 1976. But you know what? When you played Southmore and you played East Central or Nathan Hale or McLean, no, I'm not going to give you no credit for that, dog. You finally beat PC. You beat them at home. Good for you. Good for you, Missouri. You in the soft SEC schedule that you should be running through. Look, they're at 11 for me. They're probably going to stay at 6 for the AP. I would like to see more from Missouri. I need to see you beating everybody like a drum. Everybody. I don't need to see you going down 14-3 to the Jesuits at home. Needing to come up with something nasty to go beat them. That said, Brady Cook did his chef thing, 21-32, 64 with a TD. In a comeback win as a top 10 team at home against BC. Get out of here, man. Get out of here. Oklahoma State beat my alma mater like they stole something. Came down to Turnpike, came down to Cimarron, and gave that's not Tulsa when Oklahoma State was playing today. It looked like a private Presbyterian college. That's what it looked like, dog. Got beat down. To Oklahoma State beat Tulsa 45-10. It was 45-0 before it's 45-10, dog. It's bad. Alan Bowman went 31, I think it was, 21-31, 396 with 5 TDs and a pick. Nasty. After damn near giving the game away to Arkansas, they were like, nah, it's cool. We're going to go down. We're going to beat up on RJ's alma mater. We're going to make sure he's quiet. because Tulsa has now lost to Arkansas State and Oklahoma State. I was looking at the schedule for Tulsa going, we ought to win 10 games. Yeah. We got work to do. We got work to do. We got work to do. Okay, number 13, I got Utah. It looked like they were going to struggle against Utah State and Bryson Barnes, who might have been on his revenge tour, but that didn't last for very long. Utah won that game 38-31. Without Cam Rising, Isaac Wilson, not bad. 20 of 33 for 239, 3 TDs, INT. That's a Bryson Barnes line. Beat your in-state rival. Good for you, right? Micah Bernard had 123 on 17 carries, 2 TDs, or 8 TDs, excuse me. Clemson was idle. Michigan, now, here's the thing. I just got done telling you that Arkansas State beat Tulsa, okay? Arkansas State went up to Michigan. They got beat 28-18. But that's not the thing. The thing that gets me is Davis Warren got to start at quarterback for Michigan. Every pass that Davis Warren threw was caught by somebody. He was 11 of 14. It's just those 3 that he did not throw to the 11 Michigan Wolverines. He threw to Red Wolves, and he got the hook late, which is another way of saying they ain't got no quarterback at Michigan. And you got USC coming to your house. They definitely got a quarterback. Sharon Moore needs to figure out what they doing at quarterback. And he needs to figure out, why is Kalel Mullins not the focal point of your offense from here on out? That is the best player on Michigan's offense. It ain't Colston Loveland. It damn sure ain't Donovan Edwards. It ain't Samaj. And it ain't Tyler. And it damn sure ain't one of them quarterbacks. It's Kalel Mullins. That dude had 153 yards on 53 rushes. That man rushed for all of 195 yards in 2023. He went for 92 against Fresno State. Didn't nobody do nothing against Texas. And 153 against Arkansas State. Make that dude the focal point of your offense. I don't know do you realize that we put 7 on the cover of EA Sports' College Football 25, and I have yet to see 7 do much of anything? Somebody tell me what 7 is doing. I need to know. Right? Maybe there's something I don't know. Tell me what 7 is doing. Tell me what it is I'm missing. Because unless you got an Ohio State jersey on, or you play in the postseason, it don't seem to get much out of 7. Tell me what it is with 7. You know what I'm saying? I need to figure that part out. Okay? 16, I got LSU, but that's only because they survived South Carolina. I again say, if Lenora Sellers was able to continue to play the rest of that game, feels like South Carolina is going to get that upset. They look good. LSU, though, as much as I want to be nice about what Garrett Nussmeier has done, 300 yards in the first game against SC, 300 yards against Nichols, 285, 2 TDs, and a pick against South Carolina today. He's averaging 298.3 yards per game passing. It's also because he has to. Like, they had a little bit of a run game today, but not much. But it's also because the Blake Baker defense just ain't good. This is now 2 straight years of LSU defense being soft. S-A-W-F-T, soft. They gave up 243 on the ground to South Carolina today. Okay, cool. South Carolina, they got Lenore Sellers. They got Rocket Sanders. Maybe they got a good offensive line, right? They also gave up 150 to Nichols last week. Nichols ain't supposed to be rushing for no 150 yards on no LSU defense. That's never supposed to happen. You're supposed to hand Nichols this check, and they're supposed to say, thank you, sir, appreciate you. Not run for 150 over you. And I got to see a little bit of what Harold Perkins was doing today. He showed up in a big way. But it was Kennard and Dylan Stewart that was the focus. Kyle Kennard was like, why y'all talking so much about Dylan Stewart? I'm the man here. I'm in Garrett Nussmeier's lap. South Carolina got a squad. I don't know that they're going to win much of anything, Pat. I mean, it's going to be one of the hardest 7-5 teams you've ever seen. You know, but that's just being in the SEC this year. It's tough. Going on the road in the SEC is becoming a real thing. Ask Georgia about going to Kentucky. Ask LSU about going to South Carolina. You know, I hope ask Tennessee about coming to Oklahoma. Hello. That's the part that nobody wanted to say at Oklahoma, so I'm going to say it. OU has its first 4 games at home. Normally, that means Oklahoma is going to be 4-0 because Oklahoma, Memorial Stadium, the Palace on the Prairie, celebrating 100 years, is a fortress most of the time. Most of the time, it's fortress. You don't come in there expecting to get no W's. You come in there expecting to leave with all your men. I don't know how Tennessee is feeling about coming into this. I know that I have I'm telling anybody to listen. Tennessee is not going to give you the benefit of starting slow. That's not going to happen. They're going to go after your throat, and they're going to keep slicing until they get it. Okay? I don't see that out of LSU. And Brian Kelly over here grabbing his forehead, that ain't helping nobody. Your kids breathe that body language, man. I continue to say this. It's easier to be on someone's side than it is to ask them what their problem is. Mostly because players, and I consider myself a player, we're always hardest on ourselves. We know what the assignment is. We know when we executed it. We know when we didn't. And I sure as hell don't need you coming in my ear telling me what bad I did. I need you to pick me up. Hey, man, here's something you did well. Here's something we can work on, right? Let's give 2 positives and a negative. 2 positives and a negative. I guarantee you we probably not going to hear them 2 positives, but it's going to weigh the same. You know, you're going to pick it up. You're going to give it some time. And you really got to try to protect them because I think his body language is all wrong. It makes me feel bad because it doesn't even feel like when you do something well that he's going to lose his mind. And that's one of the things I got to say about Shane Beamer that I love. Like, we call that dude Ted Lasso. It don't really fit because he's actually a harder dude than Ted Lasso. But when they make plays, Shane is jumping up and down, and he is hugging the hell out of his players. He is living and dying with them. That's a guy you want to play for. I mean, you can coach me as hard as you want to, but when I make a play, if you're the first person to come and see me, like Chris Kleiman, when Dylan Edwards ran one back against Arizona, when DJ Giddens got into the end zone, that's the stuff, man. I need more of that out of Brian Kelly. Go find you a Garrett Nussmeier and hug that man to death. Find you a Kyron Lacey. Build that boy up. Find you a Caden Durham. Clutch his insides, man. That's the stuff. Be somebody fun uncle out there, dog. That's what I try to do. I love doing this because I get to be everybody's uncle. It's fun. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else got to be the parent biting their fingernails off. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be over here going, no, that's my nephew. You know what I'm saying? That's my niece. That's fun. Be somebody uncle. You the head coach. You the head coach at Louisiana State University. Tell me how that's not fun. Ed Orgeron knew that was fun. You know what I'm saying? And won a national championship because he knew that was fun. Brian Kelly said he wanted to come to LSU because he wants some of that national championship stuff. You look at Nick Saban, I'm going, yeah, all right. Not everybody can be what Nick Saban is. Matter of fact, I would say you should leave Nick Saban alone as a stereotype, okay? Only as an archetype, not a stereotype. As an archetype, you should probably leave that alone. Embrace the fun. You know, like, I'm going to point to Shane Beamer again. They had a block punt today against LSU. Man came flying up the middle, got his hands on the football. Maybe it was a legal play, maybe it wasn't. But the way I looked at it, I saw Shane Beamer lose his mind on the block punt and then point to the crowd going, look at what you did. Look at what you've allowed for. Look at how you have given us the advantage that we asked for at Williams-Brice. And that, man, that's charging up that fan base. Like, everybody in Williams-Brice is like, yeah, I'm playing too. See? I'm on the field too. This is how I make myself heard. But the dude that made the punt block, they had this great cutaway where ESPN got this footage from South Carolina of Shane Beamer pointing out and said, hey, look, I saw you running 21 miles an hour in the game last week. You better run 22 miles an hour to the bursar office to get your refund on your tuition because you on scholarship. And everybody lost their mind. That's how you do it right there, baby. That's what I'm talking about. You're gonna win a lot of battles with me paying somebody's tuition. You just are. I mean, right now, great example, Vanderbilt, love you. You heard me talk about Vanderbilt in July. I don't give a damn no more. You know why? They got Opportunity Vanderbilt. Opportunity Vanderbilt has said, hey, if your parents make less than $150,000 a year, we're going to comp you. Because you got in, you enrolled, we're going to make sure you graduate. Oh, my God. You paying for kids to go to school, you're going to have me. You going to have me. Especially kids that had to put in, like walk-ons. You're paying for school and you playing football? Walked on onto the track team at TU, right? Walked on to the cheerleading squad at TU. I need the scholarship money, right? I'm saying anything I could do. I'm working at Pep Boys. I'm moving furniture. I'm waiting tables. I'm tired as hell. My senior year, I took 18 hours in back-to-back semesters. I still had to take a summer class to graduate, dog. Like, that's what it was. I still managed to get a 3.8. Working 12-hour days going to school. So you're going to get a lot out of me when you find a walk-on that is worthy. And if I'm a head coach, man, I make millions of dollars. I might have 2 or 3 walk-ons just every year. Pay that dude's tuition. Just pay it. I don't give a damn. Pay that dude's tuition. We'll take care of whatever else we got to do later. I need LSU and Brian Kelly to have more of that. Kansas State proved to be one of the class teams in the Big 12. They beat Arizona 31-7 in a non-conference matchup because it's a non-conference matchup when they made it, so it doesn't count toward the Big 12 conference title. But, it is what it is. Arizona turns out to be just Noah Fafita and Teteroa McMillan in parts. It's not really good. Kansas State, they got sunshine out there. Every time I see Avery Johnson, I see a short black man playing basketball. I apologize for that, Avery Johnson, but I got to call you Sunshine because I can't say Avery Johnson with a straight face yet. You know what I'm saying? It's going to take me a little while. Plus, they call him Sunshine out there. He got that long, flowing blonde hair. He drive a purple Corvette. Here's my thing about driving a purple Corvette. If it's an automatic, get out of my face. Get out of my face. My MR2 Spider is a standard. It's millennial proof. It's Zoomer proof is what it is. Okay? Drive your Corvette. At least make it make it Zoomer proof. Okay? Learn to use a clutch. And if you want to know how to use a clutch, are you really from Kansas? Are you really from Oklahoma? We drive tractors. We drive trucks. What do you mean you don't know how to use a clutch? Can you park a trailer? Can you? Can you park a trailer? Can you drive a dually? Do you know how to hitch? No? If I got to put my U-Haul on the back of your truck, could you do it? That's all I'm asking. Don't drive an automatic. And I've been through Kansas. I've been through Manhattan. What you doing with a Corvette on them streets in Aggieville, dog? Like, I was looking at him going, why you got a Corvette? Get that man a tricked out F-150, F-250. Oh, my God, yes. I mean, come on, man. Lean in to being a farmer. That's what it is. It is an ag school, and you got a Corvette. Anyway, he played well, man. 153 yards passing, 110 yards on the ground. He looked like the real deal. You could see why nobody at Kansas State was mad about Will Howard going to Ohio State. I got Oklahoma at 18. I've talked about them, 34-19 against Tulane. Defense is not giving up more than 14 points in any game this year. That's a great sign. That's who Oklahoma is this year. It's a lot like the 2000 team, I hope, where the defense is leading the way and the offense gets out of the way. So be complimentary to the defense. That's all I'm asking the offense to do at this point because I don't think we got the horses. We can't be scoring 40 on nobody in this year. We're just not going to have it. It's going to be whatever Jackson Arnold's got that day, whatever we can get from the running back room that day, and whatever Deion Burks can do that day. That's what it's going to be. And that's with the offensive line is halfway decent. I got Illinois at 21. They beat Central Florida 30-9. They also got a ranked win last week against Kansas. They are 3-0. They get Nebraska, who's also 3-0 for the first time since 2016, in Big Ten play on Saturday. The last time that Nebraska started 3-0, they rose to number 7 in the country, and we're 7-0. We're also looking at Nebraska as perhaps being 7-0 when they got to maybe get beat like a drum against Ohio State. It's possible. You should probably plan for it, Husker fans. I got Iowa State at 22. They were idle. Nebraska at 23. They made light work of Northern Iowa. Notre Dame decided that they got tired of me talking about them, putting money in the bag against Northern Illinois, getting embarrassed at their house, so they went to Purdue's house and embarrassed them at theirs, 66-7. They rushed for 6 TDs. They rushed for 362 yards. 278 of those came in the first damn half. I got UNLV at the 25 spot. They are 3-0. They got a great win on the road on Friday night against Kansas. They 23-20. The offense is a dumpster fire. Brendan Marion. He got to figure that out. Matthew Sluga can't be trusted to throw the ball now. Nobody to nobody. Ricky White was the third most prolific receiver in the country last year behind Rome Odunze and Malik Neighbors. That man had 3 catches for 4 yards against Kansas. You got to find a different way to get that man a football. It has to happen. That's got to work. Last thing I want to get up out of here on is we got to talk about, well, it's not just that Toledo beat Mississippi State at Davis Wade 41-17. It's that the Bulldogs paid $1.2 million for the privilege. Mississippi State, I said you been had. I said you been took. I said you been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok. This is what he does. Toledo, the Rockets, Chuck Ely, put the shimmy in the shag. Mississippi State, put the money in the bag. And we out. I'll catch y'all on the flip side on Sunday. We'll do another live show, take a look at the week ahead.